everybody, and welcome to LuvTalk. Today on LuvTalk, we're speaking with a spoken word artist out of East London. He has the project out now called Kitchen Therapy, which is available on all media platforms, so go ahead and download it. We'll be discussing how he grew up, how he found his love for spoken word, and we'll deep dive into some of the tracks on the album. He goes by the name of The Narrator Speaks.
LUV. Man, thank you for having me. So excited for this conversation.
Yeah, you're doing good?
I'm all right. Guys, Sunday morning, Sunday blessings. Happy Sunday to everyone.
Thank you.
Or whatever day it is on that they receive it. But yeah, happy Sunday from today anyway.
All right, so the first question I always ask my guests is, how did you come about the name The Narrator Speaks?
The name The Narrator Speaks is a funny story. I didn't really have, I have like a load of aliases, for those that know me. It was kind of like it was kind of just a play on words because one of my friends, Bezel, who raps, he wanted me to host his first album, and he was like, "Yeah, just kind of do it like kind of like a narration kind of thing." And I was like, "Yeah." That I got, and I was like, funny enough, I've got a name which might make sense. And then I was like, The Narrator Speaks, and he was like, "Huh, okay, that's kind of smart." But yeah, it's kind of spawned from that. It was just like a late night studio session, and then he had an idea to start his album, and then from there, he kind of encouraged me and pushed me into actually doing music. It wasn't for me. I used to just come and just sit down. I was a studio rat. I was just relaxing on the side, passing a cup around with some drink in it or something. The hype man in the building. But yeah, he kind of encouraged me to start getting into it. And also his brother, Audio Kitchen, who is a guy that produced this album. He produced the whole thing. He's also very instrumental in getting me to start this as well.
All right, so although you was in the studio, when you was asked to host this event, you already had a name, so you were already writing?
I wasn't writing, so to say. I think I was just talking. I was just, you just always have that. I guess I was always that guy that was just on the side with a good idea, or sometimes can bring clarity to a situation. So it's kind of like from there, it was kind of a thing of, oh, sometimes the way in which we perceive things as individuals is what kind of adds and takes away, and if not even opens up the spectrum. So it was one of those things where he had certain, like most of his music he would send to me, and I would have it and I'd listen to it. I'd be like, yeah, this song would be great for this song would be great for that, and so forth. And I used to be like his bank for his music. This is Bezel I was speaking on. And then he was like, no, just come, like, come studio. I got an album, I have an idea. Come and see how this kind of would fit in with you. And then I was like, okay, I'll come and see what's going on. And then from there, I was just like, yeah, maybe I could do something. And then he was like, yeah, it's like, and then everyone was like, yeah, it's like spoken word. It's not necessarily poetic because it's not really always rhyming, but it always has like a deeper meaning to it. You kind of drag something out of it. So I was like, okay, well, narrating is probably the best way to put it. And I guess the narrations are speaking now.
I think it's always beautiful when friends can identify the gift within someone, and then for that someone to receive it and turn it into something and grow it and nurture it. So what was the first piece that you wrote?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not too sure, but I'll probably say it was like basically it was an intro for his project. So it was it was meant to be the first song. So he just had me basically just introduce him and introduce the song and introduce the album at the same time. Dream Meets Reality, that's the name of the song. But yeah, Dream Meets Reality was probably the first thing that I wrote and actually recorded, I want to say. If not, it was one of the first. And I did have songs as well. There was one song called Thinking, which had my brother Knuckles, Lyra's an amazing singer. She's on quite a few of my songs, and Bezel. And it was like a song kind of about, I guess everyone was talking their conversation. So people were talking about cheating, infidelity, and all these. It's just a kind of like one of those live songs, but it was just a mumbo jumbo because we're all just in the studio. The producer KJ, Solo Beats, he was just working on something, and he was like, you know what, like we could try something, and then we all just bumped our heads together, like, oh yeah, maybe we could, you know, just bounced off each other and made a great song. But yeah, I won't go too much into that because that's not my conversation to have. But yeah,
But
I
we'll
don't
cover
think
it at
it's
the same time. Dream Meets Reality by Bezel. Go and check it out, and check out all his other projects as well while you're at it.
yes, please.
All right, so let's let everybody know who you are, how you grew up, how did you grow up, and how was your home lifestyle as a young'un?
Home lifestyle was two-parent home, which is a blessing. Mum and dad, a lot of love and a lot of passion is probably the best word I could use. African household. We tend to not always do things the way that everyone else would, I guess, and that's what makes us individuals. As we're African Nigerian, so very very energetic is probably the way to put it. We like to have things go a certain way. We have it pre-planned before it's even come to fruition, and I think that's kind of what drove us to find ourselves. Because I think with sometimes with African households, there's a lot of you do what I say, but I think with that there is always going to be resistance, as we always kind of find that we need to find who we are and find out what we're good at and what wakes us up in the morning as individuals, not just for our parents wants as well. Obviously, our parents will always want us to be successful, which was always the thing. So with growing up, we grew up in Hackney, born and raised, and obviously my parents were like, we want you to see other things. So they sent me to North London for school. And after school, I think you get to an age where you can kind of now, all right, now I want to kind of take control and not necessarily do what I want to do, but kind of make decisions that can impact myself and hopefully in a positive way. So obviously college I did in East London, and university I stayed in London for. But yeah, life was good. I'm a middle child of 5. So yeah, I have my moments. I can be very high, very low. I could be in the middle. I can be the glue that keeps everything together. You get loads of jobs as a middle child in an African household. Unfortunately, you have to answer for everyone. If the older lot are doing something crazy, you need to know all the answers. If the younger lot are doing something crazy, you need to know the answers for that too.
Your household and your family your family always try to look. What did you say? Make sure that you know who you are, or make you grow into who you are. But it was
Yeah.
your friends who encouraged you to kind of do spoken word. So what was your family seeing in you, and what are your other gifts? Because you've obviously got other things going on.
Uh, um, with yeah, I obviously I love my friends for bringing that out of me, because I always used to be like, I'm not really even with doing the spoken word, I'm not really someone I hate being in the center of things. So I'm still kind of getting used to what it is, to be honest. Especially with this project, it was kind of, even my little sister, she said it to me, she goes, oh yeah, it's kind of interesting knowing you as you and then listening to your music as the narrator speaks. It's almost like two different entities, because I do see some things, but I don't see everything, obviously. So it's always kind of interesting where with the family, kind of, especially when it came to my parents. My parents didn't know I did music until just after this project came out. So I sent Jerk Jollof into the group chat, which is it's a blend of everything, and I knew that it would raise some eyebrows because I'm speaking in their dialect, broken, and a bit of pidgin English as well. And then they were like, they heard it, and my mum was like, "Oh, wait, what? When did you start doing this?" But she loved the song. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey. Still, as I say, getting used to it. Although our parents did instill things in order for us to kind of try and figure out what we enjoy and who we are. That in itself is kind of its own challenge, and it comes with its own hurdles. So I guess I'm just trying to jump over some of these as we move forward.
Okay, so you said you went to university. What did you do your degree in?
My degree, I did it in tourism and HR. So I did it international tourism management. So I was thinking what the dream was maybe to work for a tourist board. So I saw like, because what I was it during while I was studying, what I could always seem to not find was, especially when it comes to the Afro-Caribbean background. I don't want to say we're not represented as well as we should. especially being beautiful, like not in a bad way, but probably most people will travel to our home countries to come and experience and enjoy. And there's other things that they do which I don't agree with, which I won't go into. But at the same time, I think there's so much for people to see when it comes to Africa, the Caribbean, especially some of the smaller islands. There's some places in Africa, even me, I'm still learning today about countries that exist that I never heard of. So I was always looking at that, like to maybe go into that and maybe try and get a job on a tourist board of some sort. I didn't know how to get there, but I was thinking, I'll try to figure out on the way and see what happens. But yeah, I didn't end up going that route, but still work a good job. But maybe in the future. I think it was more of an experience thing because there's always a lot of resistance and pushback because they do want these new ideas, but they don't want it from the youth. And so I think maybe when I come of age, maybe then they'll listen. But yeah, there's a lot of great things happening for the Caribbean and Africa right now, and I'm excited for the future.
When you come of age, how old are you? When you come of age, you're of age. You're a big man.
Well, maybe I need to be 40 to get these jobs. I don't know.
At the same time, I think you're blessed because I personally believe that to travel is to broaden your horizons and cultures. And you're blessed with the talent or blessed with the gift that you can put your thoughts in a spoken word way onto recordings. So maybe a blend of both, you travel and then you give those experiences through music.
Yeah, that's true as well. Because even I do like to solo travel, which ain't for everyone. But yeah, I love to just experience and explore, like get lost, figuratively and literally. Like I would end up in a place and I'll just, as long as my phone works, I'm okay because you can always find your hotel. But I like to kind of explore, like just kind of just stand on a corner or sit around somewhere and kind of just take everything in. I was in my last trip was to Rome, and that was an experience in itself. I wasn't too sure what to expect, but I managed to get there, get home safely, obviously. Was able to speak a bit of their dialects as well, so I had my Google Translator open and just trying to find home away from home, which is always a blessing. So managed to meet some cool people, met some Senegalese immigrants, spoke to them for I think it was like probably like 3 hours. We're just on the corner in the streets, and we're just kind of just going back and forth and speaking about life and how they managed to get there and how I'm here, what I'm doing here, what my idea or what my ideals and what my agenda was coming to Rome. Because they were like, "Oh, out of all places, why did you come to Rome? What were you expecting?" My answer was rubbish because I wasn't too sure, but I'm here now and I've met them, so I'm looking forward to hopefully going again and going to see those same people. Hopefully they progress, and because they were speaking on some difficulties which would happen obviously coming from Africa into Europe. But yeah, hopefully I get to see them again and we get to chop it up and spend a little bit more time.
All right. So have you ever been to Senegal?
Senegal, no, but I want to one day. They were intriguing me. They gave like the elephant, which is a very symbolic animal in Senegal, and the back. I can't remember everything they told me. You have to bear with me. I'm getting old. My memory ain't as good as it used to be. But yeah, they told me so much. They were instilling so much information in me. So I do hope to visit Senegal one day, and also where else did they? We all spoke about Liberia, which was one of those countries that I wouldn't say, I think it gets forgotten. Liberia's got a rich history, and there's a lot to dive in and discover. Liberia definitely did spark an instinct for me to think to book a flight there.
I think you have a lot of thoughts that can actually be written. You could probably write a book, I'm telling you, already.
Yeah, one of my old colleagues, Natasha, she used to sit like on the opposite side of the room to me, and she used to always like. I remembered when because I quit this job because I had a lot going on outside of work, so I had I used to sit next to my manager, who was called Gary, and we used to talk a lot, and she used to always come and spend her lunch with Gary, and then obviously if she's sitting next to Gary, then all three of us are talking. So we used to talk almost every day or every other day. We used to spend our lunches like talking and getting to know each other and stuff. And she was like, "But you have," because I used to always kind of guard I still guard my tongue now, but I used to guard my tongue a lot when I was speaking to them, so I wouldn't say everything. But I think, you know, you can kind of tell when someone's kind of trying to hold themselves and reserve certain things. I think in conversation you can kind of read that. So there was on the day that I quit, I remember that I wrote an email, and then I sent it to everyone. But I just spoken to my manager, who was Gary. So Gary's next to me. I turned to him and I was like, "How can I speak to you? I need to just have a 5 minutes with you." And then I told him, didn't tell him my situation, but I did tell him that I need to stop working for myself. And then he was like, he was like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do? Can we not figure something out? What about sabbatical?" I said, "No, I need to have a fresh start." Because imagine, let's say you leave something and come back, there's going to be so many questions as to what was, and I didn't really want to, once I passed that moment, I didn't want to go back and recap it. I just wanted to maybe have it in my vote, but not in everyone else's vote. So I wrote an email, I literally had my conversation with him. So I more or less quit in that moment, but I just said I'll see out the rest of the day, but I do want to write an email to let the staff know. I don't want it to go around back like on some hearsay kind of thing. So I wrote the email, sent it, and Natasha walked over and she goes, "It was so well written, but there's something about you. You need to." She goes, "You need to tell your story." This, because she goes, "I know something's wrong. We've known for a while, but and that's where you kind of have to be careful though at the same time, because projecting and also understanding that misery loves company. That's its own, So it's a gift and a curse to have someone that's, I guess, well lived and well versed, because wisdom don't come with where things going right. So with that, I always used to say to her, "Yeah, it'll be good to tell the story, but I don't think it's going to be good to tell it while I'm here." If that makes sense. So maybe in the near future, I can write you some little chapters, and then you can read through it. If you like it, then maybe we can compose something and put it together. I only wrote like 3 chapters to her, but yeah, it was interesting. She asked, like, she had certain questions that she would ask, and then she always wanted me to kind of she was just like, "Just write." And I just did so. And I think that's probably the first thing that I wrote. That was way before spoken word. But it was just, I guess, letting someone in. Kind of, it's therapy. It's therapy. Except for you don't get no advice back.
It seems to me that she enjoyed the way you wrote, but she knew you had something to say, but you didn't want to say it. So I think by asking you the questions, it helped you to put your thoughts down on paper and explore what you wanted to say without actually talking things, basically.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Kitchen Therapy. Pitch the album.
Kitchen therapy. Well, you know what? It's a bit simpler than it may seem. Audio Kitchen was the producer. So the Audio Kitchen, Audio Kitchen, I don't even know how I'm meant to explain it. I'll leave that to him to explain. But yeah, he produced the project. And it's just funny enough that I can cook as well. So it was just a load of meshing. It was all natural, like kitchen therapy. We're speaking on things that, some of the things are things that just sit in the back of our minds. Like the idea of Spiritual Rebels, for instance, that's one of the songs. It's a whole load of what ifs that are, if that makes sense. So even like there's a line on there where I say, "What if Cain was able? What if Cain was able?" Because it's like the idea of Cain and Abel having this fight, and then obviously Cain doing what he'd done. What if the roles were reversed? Would it have still went the same way? So it was like the Spiritual Rebel just kind of it was just kind of one of those songs in which it's got a whole load of questions. Anyone that's seeking enlightenment in any sort of facet, you will have questions, whether it's enlightenment from which pertains to someone else, or from within, or from something that you're doing, whether it's work or job or hobby, whatever it may be. Everything that you seek enlightenment from, you always question. And that's just kind of like, it could be fear, it could be intuition, it could just be you wanting to know certain things. But we always kind of question things, and most times the questions stay in our mind. So this kitchen therapy was more or less just some of it was situational. So even like asking for sugar, the whole premise of it was, let's say you meet not even meet, you come across someone that kind of tickles your fancy, so to say, but you don't say anything. So you have that interaction of which we see each other, and that's it. We may link eye to eye, but nothing else. And then you have the whole process of, but what if we actually had the conversation? Like, what's she about? How does it open up? It opens up. I wondering where she went to school. I wonder if 2+2 looks like a window to her. Like all these silly questions. 1+1 looks like a window. It's just like you falling into yourself, becoming a child, because especially in those moments where you don't follow through and foresee something, you kind of fall in. The inner child kind of comes out, because it's then like, oh, maybe I could have said something, but I didn't. Even the line of the courteous and the gracious, the difference. It's all there, because you want to be nice, but you don't want to overstep the boundary. If that makes sense. And although I do want to chase this idea of you, I want to know who you are, but how do I ask this if I've just opened the door for you, or if you've just crossed my path, so to say. So a lot of it was just it's therapy for me, because it was kind of the premise of it was he was more or less making a beat at the same time as I was writing. So it would be like we'll sit back, have a conversation, and then sometimes the song spawned from the ideas in which we traded there. Or it could be a thing of like Robin Hood. Robin Hood was my actual situation. So Robin Hood was me. I was dating someone at the time, and it was sweet in that moment. So it was kind of like, oh, let me write about it. But then you get back into that thing of, when you're seeking enlightenment, you have these questions. So then it goes from me wanting to know you, getting to know you, then possibly losing you, all in one song. So it kind of, you have the whole timeline, although we ain't even processed any of that. We literally just getting to know each other, and we're enjoying the time that we're spending together. But then again, enlightenment. When you seek enlightenment, you have these questions, and possibly it could be a blessing, it could be a curse, but obviously whatever happened with that relationship happened, and then we went our separate ways. But in us splitting, it's funny, because I look back at the song, and then there's certain things I say in the song, and it's kind of like, I wonder if I kind of jinxed it by putting certain things into the atmosphere, or allowing the universe to hear certain things out loud. And that's, I guess, the part that we leave to the universe to hopefully give us our answer later on in life. But yeah, it was easy. It was just me and the audio kitchen was just in the room, sat down. He made beats for features. It was like, we looked around us and we thought who would be good on what song, and it was kind of like a back and forth. The whole thing was, it was, although I don't want to make it sound cliche, it was therapy. It was just a load of ideas coming together, and then obviously once it was all recorded, coming to fruition.
Kind of see, but let's break down the album for those who haven't listened to it. So you mentioned the first song you mentioned was Spiritual Rebels.
Yeah.
Can we get a line or a verse out of that, or the same one you mentioned regarding Cain and Abel? Can we get that?
All right. So Spiritual Rebels. I'll give you the start of it. So it starts off, to all that's divine, grand risings. They say God loves a triumph, so I do what I must to receive God's favor. I'll always seek to satisfy my soul, so my soul ties tend to be strong. I stand in all that's done rather than said. And these, like, literally, when I was writing this was kind of like just how I was feeling in the moment, especially with the beat. The beat is powerful, so it kind of, as I'm speaking, it was building up. So I was like, yeah, but I had to chase it. But it was more or less just me kind of giving everyone a description of myself, because obviously it's always a thing of, people hearing it and not seeing first. So it was just me kind of just diving into myself and just giving a little description before we then take the journey. That song has Bezel and Philosophia, great singer. She's on the hook, and Bezel drops a verse on it. And they both understood the assignment and took it to the next level for me, in my opinion. I think every feature on this project, they definitely added their own source to it. So, but yeah, it was an amazing experience, and I enjoyed I enjoyed the process of making it, as well as, you know, asking these questions to myself, and also putting some of the questions that I have that sit in my mind out to the world. If that makes sense.
So what was the most fun piece for you to record? Which one gave you the most pleasure recording?
The funniest one, I think, I don't know, you know, because, you know, I did enjoy Story of the 90s, but for the let me say Story of the 90s. Stories of the 90s was probably my favorite one to record, because the way that it was, the way that we we came across, the beat was half done in one session, but we had finished recording a song on that day, so I didn't finish writing, but I had a whole different idea for it. So the next day, the Audio Kitchen said, oh, I've got a guy that I think will be good for the hook. Although we haven't really got a direction yet, but I think he'll be good on this. So he shouted MC Daddy E, who he's known for jungle music. He has quite a lot of jungle stuff. He's more of that kind of an MC, but he's versatile. So he's coming to the studio, and then I finished writing. So I was thinking, yeah, I've got this. I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to say. So I've come into the studio, and then they were like, all right, cool. Let me hear what you're going to say. And I started to do it, and then they were like, no, don't like this. And I was like, so then I thought about it, and then I was like, you know what? Let me tell a story. So I just drew from a load of different situations, and I spoke about when potential outruns itself, which at times can be seen as the worst thing in the world, but depending on how you receive people and situations, it can be a lesson as well. So I spoke about this story about a young musician, and him, I guess, I would say him allowing the world to get to him before he got to the world, if that makes sense. So he was literally on the rise, and then things happened. So I kind of just spoke on that kind of that kind of a storyline, and I touched on a load of different things. Like, it's funny because the story's been told by an auntie, but through the story you don't hear nothing about the auntie. And this is one of the most dangerous things, because I think sometimes the worst thing that we can do is stand by and watch and not do anything. And a lot of people are, especially nowadays, we have a very we're in a very weird time where we have people that will pull out a phone when situations happen rather than to get involved. And in this case, we get to see the family members we get to hear the family members speak on something that they were so close to, but they did nothing to kind of affect or help with the situation. So we get to see that. We get to see what ego does. We get to see what not understanding your position does, and also, I guess, picking up other people's habits, because if you stand around people or hang around people long enough, you tend to pick up some of their habits, not necessarily all they're good things, but sometimes they're bad as well. So and it's also built around a young character, so a mind that's still kind of forming and making its own, you know. So it was a great challenge for me in that moment. And the best part about making this song was the guys didn't know what I was writing. So I was literally, I write a verse, I'd be like, yeah, cool, I'm ready to record the first verse, then get back, start writing again, do the second verse, third verse, And even so when we got to the end of the song, it's like the guys ain't even worried about you. You almost they almost got out of the they go out of their own roles. So we have someone that's featuring and we have someone that's meant to be recording engineering, and they're both just looking back at me, trying to hear the story. So that was like the funnest part. And at the end, they were like, you know what? That's tough. It's tough.
I must agree. I must agree that stories of the 90s, that really hits home. Like, and it's kind of different to all the other tracks on the album, which is what I like, because it gives the whole album different dimensions. You go through all different types of emotions. You've got thought provoking items in there. You've got love items in there, and then you have this one which is quite harsh, but it has a point.
I say this thing to my friends where I say I'm trying to build with everything that I do. I like to build. I like to think of it like an ecosystem, like a community, because I think it might sound a bit harsh, but I think the whole idea of society is dead because we haven't found the common thing that keeps us together. Once you don't have something that's common that gels us, what are we here for? You know, why are we around each other? And this is where the problem comes. It's rough, man, because you know we want to be able to be free, but at the same time, living in fear, you kind of put yourself on negative constraints. So you kind of have to hope that you make it home. Like I say this thing to I say this thing to my I say it to people that I care about. I always say this thing. I don't leave my room I don't let me put it like this. I don't lay my bed before I leave home. Because I wanna, let's say there's one day where I don't make it back home. I want you to be able to walk in there and be like, oh yeah, that was definitely, you could see you could see what our morning was like. I don't want that to ever be taken away. Although I don't believe that I believe in the physical form, we might not be here, but I think the energy will always remain. So for me, I don't want to take that energy away from where I spent, I guess, my nights. I spent quite a few hours there. And I think that's all that people will have left of me. Is probably what I leave behind. And these memoirs, like this moment will be left behind. The music will be left behind. I'm just trying to immortalize myself without trying to be a Marvel superhero, you know? Just trying to be the best that I can be and trying to leave my mark. I don't necessarily want to be the best or be the number one, but I do want to be heard. I just want to be heard. That's been my main thing. I just want to be heard. The rest of it they can keep.
Is there anything else you want to say about the album before we move on?
I want to thank everyone that's on it. So I do want to thank the producer, the Audio Kitchen, the features, Bezel, Freezy Major. I didn't even speak on Freezy. Freezy is the best. I just want to put it out there because I know he'll watch this. Freezy, you're the best. That pocket that we're in on that song, that is you. Jerk Jalof, the way that what he added to that song, I don't think I could have got from anywhere else. I could have went to Wizkid or anyone, and I don't think I'd have got that same energy, that same vibe from anywhere else. And this is although it's a project, I think I hope to give people back their flowers. Everyone that's done anything with me. Callie on Asking for Sugar, she breathed a different life onto it. She's all the way in Indonesia. She don't even know what she did. She didn't know what she did. I gave her a little voice note of, oh, I need this. This is what the conversation is. This is what the direction is. But you have freedom to roam. She ran off, came back with some magic, and it kind of sparked a new wave, because where I was writing, or what I was writing about it before then, it was similar, but I had to kind of curve it a little bit. But yeah, Callie, Philosophia, Bezel, super thankful, super grateful. On the album we got Chef's Kiss, Robin Hood, Jack Jaloff, Spiritual Rebels, Stories of the 90s, Asking for Sugar, Table for Two, and I didn't mention MC Daddy E. Thank you for your contribution as well, because he came in with he came in with the hook already ready before I even wrote the verse. But it is what it is. But it was a great moment because the stories of the 90s, I think him having his part already laid down. I think if he heard the verse before he'd put the hook down, he might have changed it. But I think it was perfect for what it did. So I'm grateful, thankful, and I'm grateful to have had it happen because it took a while to come out. It's like maybe like a year plus in the making. The last song asking, no, sorry. Yeah, Table for Two. Table for Two. It took us a while to find someone that could, because I think that song had with music, it's like you can rush it. Like Audio Kitchens always say, yeah, we can rush it and then make it. But if we want it to sound right and we want it to resonate, you want it to stay and live, we have to do it right, and it does take time. So yeah, we managed to get through the realms of possibilities and get this project done. And I'm super thankful, super grateful. We're gonna have hopefully some visuals. I'm nervous as hell about it, but we're gonna have to do it, man. Even if I don't know, we're gonna have to do it somehow. But yeah, I'm grateful for everyone around me. I'm thankful for you for giving me the opportunity as well. But yeah, I'm thankful for all that's happened already and all that's yet to come. And also check the old projects, features. I'm all over the place. I'm trying to work. So even if there's opportunity, if you have a song and you don't know what to do with it, send it to me. Maybe I could put something on there. But yeah, I'm just happy. I'm happy to give my craft to the world and be heard.
All right, so promote your handles. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media, etc.
Social media, The Narrator Speaks, one word. Anywhere you can find me, I think. I may not use everything, but if not, just hit Bez or one of these other guys that are in the album and tell them you're trying to find me or something, and then I'll pop up. Trust me, for sure.
So thank you so much. One question that I always ask every guest: if you could speak with anyone, who would it be?
This one, easy one for me, would be my grandfather on my dad's side. Never met him, but I feel I get a lot of comparisons from family members that have met him and that know him, and I do feel he does feel familiar to me. That's all I'll say on the situation. He does feel familiar. I don't want to spook nobody or put my life or my lenses on anyone's eyes, but he seems very, very familiar to me. The energy, I know that energy. I know that man. I know that man.
With us anymore.
Yeah, he's not here, unfortunately, but I'd love to sit down and have dinner with him. And there's a load of things I would love to ask. And I think he's probably the only person that could give me those answers personally. But yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think it'll be him.
All right. And my final question, the narrator speaks. What is your message that you are sending to the world?
My message would be try and stay your authentic self. So whatever you leave in the dark, be aware of, because once the light shines again, you might lose that. So don't try to fit no mold. Don't try to be outside of yourself in situations that you don't feel comfortable in. Be yourself, do what you need to do, and all else will fall into place. Allow the universe to work for you. Don't work against it. Let things come.
Thank you ever so much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
You too.
Don't forget that's Kitchen Therapy by The Narrator Speaks. Go and download it. Available on all media platforms now. Have a nice day. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe so you can be notified about future interviews. Have a lovely day. If you would like to promote your music on Love Radio, find us on all social media platforms or email contact@luvradio.co.uk.